So a lot of battle shonen nowadays kinda make a job out of their action. Demon Slayer has, well, demon slayers. In My Hero Academia, being a hero is more of a profession than anything else. And Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen are no different. Whether you want to fight devils or curses, it's not just about beating back these evil monsters, you're also trying to make a living, or at least keep the lights on at home. So the question I want to pose to y'all today is this: if you had the choice of entering either of these worlds and becoming a Jujutsu Sorcerer or a public safety devil hunter, which should you choose? Now, when selecting between these jobs, I think there's three main factors to look at: mortality rate, as well as other drawbacks, the respective power systems, and the pay and benefits. So starting off on a rather negative note, let's talk about which is more likely to get you killed. And I'm gonna be honest with you all, no matter what your choice is, you're probably gonna die. On the surface, death is a very similar prospect in both series. Either way, you are made to go against terrifying monsters that are capable of tearing you apart. That being said, I think I have to say that being a Jujutsu Sorcerer is a bit safer for two reasons. The first is the grading system. The grading system in Jujutsu Kaisen exists not only to categorize curses and sorcerers, but also to effectively assign missions to sorcerers. A grade 1 sorcerer only has that position because it has been determined that they are notably stronger than grade 1 curses. So this system makes it so a sorcerer is usually not given any work above their capability. Now this system isn't perfect, as we see inaccuracies can happen. That's how Haibara died. But this is still better than being a devil hunter for public safety. In Chainsaw Man, there isn't such a rigid ranking system, and all the weaker devils are generally killed by the private sector, whereas the stronger ones are specifically reserved so that public safety can handle them. The second reason being a sorcerer is just a little safer is the powers in Jujutsu Kaisen also fit into a more rigid system. In Chainsaw Man, there aren't that many rules to devil powers, so they can be a lot more unpredictable. A really good comparison is between the Eternity Devil and the curse that Mei and Utahime deal with in the beginning of Season 2. Both of these entities show the ability to trap people in whatever room they're in by making it essentially infinite. However, in the case of the Eternity Devil, there really isn't any counter for this. You gotta kill it or make it give up. There's no clever workaround, you just have to have a way to brute force it, like Denji's immortality and healing through blood, or Aki's Cursed Devil. In the case of Jujutsu Kaisen, this similar ability could only work within the stricter rules of cursed energy. Mei and Utahime could speculate about the ability within these rules and devise a counter strategy. Now, they didn't get the chance to try this out in the manga, but we do see it actually kinda work in the anime. Either way, it demonstrates a difference between curses and devils that I think makes curses a little more manageable. Aside from this though, the drawbacks of these jobs are basically the same. Not only will you probably die, you're also going to get psychologically scarred. You're bound to witness some really messed up stuff, and that's just gonna be a regular part of the job. Other than all that stuff, the only other notable thing is that devil hunters have to do paperwork whenever they kill a devil. And honestly, that alone is enough to give Jujutsu Kaisen the win in this category. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the factor that I bet a lot of you first thought of in this question: the power system. Would you rather have access to devil contracts or be able to use cursed energy? And this is a more complicated question than you might think. Let's start with cursed energy, and we need to be honest with ourselves. None of us are gonna be Gojo, most of us aren't even gonna be Nanami. We gotta be fair, look inside ourselves, and admit that most of us are gonna be Miwa. Because being born a sorcerer is like playing a gacha game. You might not get a good curse technique, and that's if you even do get one. And most people aren't going to achieve things like Black Flash or Reverse Curse technique. Most sorcerers also don't master their domain expansion. The other downside of cursed energy is you do have to train to get stronger, which sounds simple on paper, but most people can't even keep to a consistent workout in real life. Now do that and add training on how to control a form of energy that is constantly noted on how hard to control it is. That being said, at a bare minimum, you will be able to strengthen your body to a much greater degree. Plus, you can still master anti-domain techniques. The upside is, even with bad luck, you can still be strong. Even without a curse technique, you can still reach the heights of grade 1 like Kusakabe. And you can be even stronger with the use of binding vows. Mei is able to one-shot special grade curses with her Bird Strike, and Nanami gets a notable boost in power with his overtime. If you're smart about your your abilities, you can become a lot stronger by limiting yourself in other ways. It's honestly kind of insane to me that more characters don't abuse this part of the system. Devil contracts are kind of the opposite of cursed energy. Being strong will involve training, but it more so depends on the contracts you make and what you're willing to give up. This can range from body parts to a significant part of your lifespan, and honestly, you'll never be strong enough to really face any devil that actually matters. Throughout all of Chainsaw Man, you would be hard-pressed to find any devil hunters that are just human that have notable victories. And if anyone wants to bring up Kishibe, then please tell me anything he's done that's impressive besides beat up Denji in Season 1. And Denji is just able to get by because he has superhuman capabilities and can heal from just about any injury. An average devil hunter just isn't really going to achieve much. On the upside of devil contracts, you have a lot more control over your capabilities than with cursed energy. There's less chance here. You can make a contract with any devil that's willing, and public safety even has some in store for that very purpose. You can get all sorts of powers. You want brute force? The Fox Devil is very popular for just brutalizing other devils. Something a bit more gruesome? The Mole Devil is really good for that. And if your eventual death is particularly bad, the Future Devil will just give you power for free. At the end of the day, cursed energy is probably more ideal. With enough effort and intelligence, you can be pretty strong regardless of the hand you're dealt. Devil contracts do just give you more freedom in what you can do, but that's probably not worth how much you'd have to lose to be strong. Speaking of which, we've only been talking about what you'd lose in these jobs so far, but what about pay and benefits? What job will give you the best standard of living? Which is really important since you won't be doing a whole lot of living in either of these jobs. Now, we don't get confirmed numbers for either job in series, but there are still clues we can work from. For examples of average devil hunters, we can look right at Aki and Himeno. Since Denji moved into the apartment Aki already had, that means Aki was able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment just on his salary. And in the meantime, he managed to save up 7.13 million yen. Taking into account inflation, that should be worth a little over $49,000. Similarly, Himeno was able to afford an apartment with a pretty big balcony, and in the anime, the apartment itself looks rather spacious. So from this, your average devil hunter definitely isn't rich by any means, but they also aren't facing any real financial struggle. During Denji's time as a devil hunter working for public safety, there's never a real worry about money, and the main trio seems to live comfortably. Compared to this, it's not quite as easy to tell how much a Jujutsu Sorcerer makes. The thing we can be most confident on is that based on Miwa's dialogue, your grade determines your payment on some level. The only confirmed numbers we have is that Gojo's shirt alone cost 250,000 yen, which is over $1,600 by the way, on just a shirt, and we know Mei is just straight up rich. But Gojo and Mei don't represent the average living situation you'll find yourself in as a Jujutsu Sorcerer. Gojo is the head of a clan that presumably has a lot of old money, and Mei seems to get a lot of her cash through other means. During the Shibuya incident, we see her give advice regarding the stock market and real estate, which likely means she's involved in that stuff too. As far as what a sorcerer can achieve on their normal payments, Miwa at least believes that a promotion would make her enough money to be independent as well as able to support her 2 younger brothers. But it's also likely that your average sorcerer isn't making much more than that. In chapter 168.1, we get a little side story about how Yuta, Maki Panda, and Inumaki basically breezed through their savings and had to get a part-time job. And even though Yuta's a student, he's still a special grade. And it's not like they have housing costs to worry about since they can live in the dorms, so even special grades don't seem to be typically rich. At the end of the day, it's hard to compare exactly how much each job makes, but your average sorcerer and devil hunter both seem to be able to reasonably support themselves comfortably, even able to take on the responsibility of housing other people. Not a prestigious paycheck by any means, but they're getting by well enough. Now the difference is that public safety devil hunters have a government job with regulations and benefits. You get paid days off, you don't have to work weekends, hell it's never stated but you probably get insurance benefits too. Now with all this stuff in mind, let's check the score. In terms of death toll and drawbacks, being a Jujutsu Sorcerer seems to just barely be a safer job, and the lack of paperwork is definitely a plus. In terms of power system, I again have to give the edge to being a Jujutsu Sorcerer. Even though there's more chance involved in your potential, enough hard work can make you a noteworthy fighter. And finally, in terms of pay and benefits, I have to just barely give the advantage to being a public safety Devil Hunter. While the exact salaries are kind of vague between the two, Devil Hunters having the benefits of a government job makes it slightly more impressive to me. Although this exact factor is very debatable. With all this info in mind, I have to say that being a Jujutsu Sorcerer is a better job for these reasons, but it's really not by much. I'm sure some people would opt for being a Devil Hunter for their own reasons, but let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure you'll think of something I missed or have your own take and interpretation. And if you liked the video, do feel free to like and subscribe. It all helps the channel along. And in the meantime, take care and have a good one.